Today on Locked On Rockies, there's been a lot of revisiting of the Nolan Arenado trade since the release of Austin Gomber. So we're going to do a little bit of that and look, where can the Rockies go from here? As we were asked, what does a successful offseason look like for the Colorado Rockies? A well-deserved off day for the Rockies, but a big challenge against Houston up next, and another opportunity for the Rockies to shake up the postseason.
You are Locked On Rockies, your daily Colorado Rockies podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Rock on Rockies fans, welcome into the Locked On Rockies podcast for today, the 26th day of August in the year 2025. I'm your host of the Locked On Rockies podcast, Paul Holden, bringing you your daily Colorado Rockies talk right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where you can find your team every day. If your team is the Colorado Rockies, you're in the right spot, because that's what we do around here each and every day, free and streaming on your favorite streaming services and on the Locked On Rockies YouTube channel. Be part of the show. Fire off your Rockies hot takes. Let me know what's on your mind in the Locked On Rockies YouTube comment section, just like Jim did, who said this was worse than the Blue Jays series, just completely horrible. I really hope that Dick Monfort is so disgusted with these results that he finally decides that it's time to make serious change, but I won't hold my breath. And that's kind of the theme of today's episode is what we're going to kind of look at, of course, the fallout of the Nolan Arenado trade. And we're also going to look ahead, because I was asked, what does a successful offseason look like for the Rockies? And we'll dive into those questions and more, and look ahead to what's going to happen here with Houston coming up next, as the Rockies are in a situation where they can shake up the standings in the American League West, really looking at situations where the Rockies going forward can impact the playoffs, not by performing in them, but by winning some ball games here. I mean, obviously it's a challenge and something that's difficult for the Rockies to do, but you're looking at the fact that the Rockies are playing mostly playoff contenders here for most of their series here. I think we might be able to put, I know I often say until the season's over, we don't count them out, but don't think San Francisco is going to turn things around. But Rockies' upcoming series are against Houston, Chicago, San Francisco, San Diego, and Los Angeles. So lots of opportunity for the Rockies to kind of mix things up by winning some ball games, but that's not an easy schedule of teams to go against, especially teams looking to lock in and get themselves ready for the postseason. Let's dive into all that and more on today's episode. But before we do that, today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Football season is around the corner. Visit the FanDuel app today and start planning your future bets now. So I wanted to go over here to Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan here, as Jake Shapiro breaks down the Rockies trading of Nolan Arenado here, highlighting the career of Austin Gomber, 28-43 with the 5.31 ERA and 125 outings. That mark was the sixth worst in baseball from 2021 to 2025. His first season in Denver was the only one in which his ERA plus was above league average. And of course, he was part of the three losing teams here. But this is just the reality. This is just the fallout, and this is when we're talking about what led to or things that led to where the Rockies being where they're at. This was a cataclysmic event here. This cannot be understated, especially with this important element. Don't forget that not only did the Rockies trade Arenado for the pleasure of 5 years of this lefty struggling, they attached $50 million to the deal to specifically get Gomber. They've paid Arenado about, and I'm reading from Shapiro, by the way, here on Denver Sports. The piece, like I said, is book closes on Nolan Arenado trade. Rockies cut final player from deal. This was from last week here. But he also, back to the money thing. Beyond the weak prospect haul, the accepted current worth of one win above replacement is about $8 million. So even perspective of smoothing the trade to account for on-field contributions, which money doesn't actually do, the Cardinals are up about $81.2 million in surplus on the trade. They've paid Arenado about $122 million thus far and have 2 years left on his contract. It's the same 8-year, $260 million extension he signed in Denver with the aim of remaining a Rocky for life. The Rockies being on the hook financially for this, mixed with the absolute inability to develop anything from the Nolan Arenado trade, is one. It's one of many, but it is the prime example of why necessary change is needed throughout the organization. And yes, you're going to sit there and say the Arenado trade was years ago, 4 years ago. How much change did we see other than Bridich being able to sneak his way out? How much turnover did the Rockies really have internally? How much of a different philosophy did they really instill by just bringing the next guy up and hiring Bill Schmidt from interim to leading the GM? A guy that's been in the organization, a guy that probably worked, a guy that did work with Jeff Bridich hand in hand in things, had a relationship with him. We're able to, the Rockies owe the fans. I mean, as I've said millions of times here, but this is going to go without accountability. This is going to go without acknowledgement from the organization, and fans will bring it up, and fans will say things, and it'll still be in the back of their minds. But in terms of the organization, they have had no response to this, other than the fact that they are now, in regards to some, responsible for the worst trade in Denver sports history. To just recap the trade here. The Rockies send Nolan Arenado and $50 million. And again, I'm reading from Denver Sports here from Jake Shapiro. Arenado, three-time All-Star, 2-time Gold Glove, a Silver Slugger, third in NL MVP, 697 games played, 17.9 reference WAR, or RWAR, if you like that, 266, 323, 456 batting line, 115 home runs, 415 RBI, and 115 OPS plus. Austin Gomber, the Rockies in return got Austin Gomber, Aledris Montero, Mateo Gil, Tony Losi, and Jake Sommers. Gil, Losi, and Sommers never reached the majors. Aledris Montero played 250 games and has had a negative 1.7 WAR, 207, 267, 304 line with 21 home runs, 87 RBI, and 74 OPS plus, and he's now playing in Japan. Austin Gomber is played. It was 125 games, 3.2 WAR, 5.31 ERA, and a 90 ERA plus. This is organizational failure. This is failure across the board, and this is failure from the top up. This is what happens when you let your emotions and your egos and everything get in the way of you actually being able to build a competitive and successful baseball team. That is 5 players in return that are not on the team, and 4 of them were total flat-out busts. Where is your perception? And again, we're talking about a guy who is in the scouting department that's now the GM, and we're supposed to sit here and say that, oh, everything's going to be good. He's got the better eye. Oh, this organization, they're better off. No, this is an abject, horrendous, monumental failure by the Colorado Rockies. And it's one of many that have added up, and the ones that they continue to stack up year after year after year. Not only do these ugly seasons, these 3 straight 100-loss seasons, stare the team in the face. Not only does it stare the team in the face that they've been on path and on a trajectory and hopefully will narrowly avoid being the worst team of all time. You have this, where the last moment that you actually created hype and energy for your team, instead of actually being a team that believed in its ability to build around it, acquire free agents, and be a successful team, you squandered it, you eked your way out, and then you let this guy just sneak on out. The fact that Bridich got to just sneak away after just crumbling, after this was all about their egos, and the fact that that star player is making me so mad. Grr. You know what he was doing for you at that time? Playing MVP caliber baseball, helping put the Rockies in a position to be in the playoffs. And you, as the Rockies, you got upset that he wanted you to do more instead of go out and scrape the bottom of the barrel. Why don't you actually go and show yourself as a team that's serious? Why don't you show yourself that this team has done nothing to prove that they're anything close to serious and anything close to being able to build a serious contender? Why I get so fired up about this topic time and time and time again is because this was just one of the, not only did you do this, but look at where we are. And you're supposed to expect Rockies fans to just hang on, give you more time. We just need these guys to develop. We got good things coming. Your analysis is flawed. You don't invest in enough to really make me buy into that analysis, and you don't have a strong track record of making these big deals. Actually, that's not true. As Shapiro writes out here, Matt Holliday trade brought Carlos Gonzalez and shipping Troy Tulowitzki and Ubaldo Jimenez at least netted future MLB regulars, even if it didn't work out in Colorado. The Arenado trade, nothing. And from the organization standpoint, I'm talking about the people within the organization, the people who make the calls, the people that make the decisions. How much change did we really see as a result of that trade? The Rockies kept the same manager. The Rockies kept this. They fired the hitting coach a little bit down the line. They've kept the same people around. And then when they finally had an opportunity to look outside of the organization for a GM, they literally didn't at all. I don't buy it. I don't believe it for a second that they even called anybody from outside of the organization. If you have interim in your title, you are the next one up. Warren Schaefer will be the full-time manager next year. Put it with a bullet. Interim GM Bill Schmidt. There's been nothing that has shown that this team's changed. So when I'm asked the question, what does a successful offseason look like? It's not simply just acquiring players or doing things differently. I want accountability. I want this team to own up to its shortcomings, and I want this team to acknowledge the fact that serious change is needed here. But what we have seen throughout the year shows us that don't get your hopes up for that. All right, had to take a break here to tell you about the folks that make this show possible, and that includes FanDuel. And it's a big day at FanDuel because August 26th, yes, that is today, it's officially FanDuel Futures Day, a brand new holiday for football fans who live for bold predictions and preseason hunches. It's for just 24 hours, so that's going on right now. It's already started. It's already underway, folks. FanDuel is giving you deals on NFL season predictions. So whether you're calling your MVP, buying into your Broncos, getting your Broncos future bets in, because you know you're hyped up about the Broncos right now. I'm pumped about the Broncos. You're pumped about the Broncos. Everyone's pumped about football being back because, let's face it, we're Rockies fans. You can eye that long shot division winner or crown your Super Bowl champion before week 1 even kicks off. This is your moment. Who are you going to take in the MVP race? Are you going to go Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson as the favorite? Are you going to take a flyer on Bo Nix for doing something crazy? Or maybe you're going to go on the defensive side of the ball. Who knows? Maybe you want to crown your champion in August. Let's see if it's going to be the actual end of the Chiefs. I don't know. Might be a division winner. Might be something interesting there because you can parlay your division winner dark horses as well. Visit the FanDuel app today and start planning your future bets now because FanDuel Future Days is one day and one day only. That's today at FanDuel. Play your game. Locked On Rockies here, back for segment number 2. Before we get to segment number 2, I have a request from us here at the Locked On Podcast Network. Locked On wants to hear from you. We've put together a survey to learn more about our listeners and make your favorite podcasts even better. This is your chance to tell us what you like, what you don't like, and answer questions about our advertising. Go to lockedonpodcasts.com/survey to get started. Everyone who completes the survey will be entered for a chance to win one of 10 $100 Amazon gift cards. Again, it's lockedonpodcast.com/survey. You can also find the link in the show notes. Thank you for helping us out. So I got fired up there. And maybe I don't know if I'm cheesy for doing that. Am I cheesy? Am I cheesy for as soon as I get into the Nolan Arenado conversation, it just sets a fire out from underneath me. Like, is it that bad? I just don't feel like I can get over it because it just hasn't panned out. And not to say it's panned out for Arenado either. I mean, that's a good point that Jake makes in the piece as well. It's not like he's out there winning championships with the Cardinals, but it's failing to get anything from those players. Paying a fan favorite, a beloved guy that signed a contract to be a Rocky for life, and instead it was a clash of egos. And instead of being able to actually work together and find compromise and all this stuff, ship you out. And then the guy that had the biggest problem with him gets to slink off into the night. and gets to be forgotten about. I haven't forgotten about this trade because it's inexcusable. It's unforgivable. Until the Rockies are a consistent contender team that have turned around their organization, that's shown that they're serious about winning, that have shown that they're serious about being able to develop players, shown that they're serious about taking advantage of their unique environment, shown that they're serious about competing bottom line, I'm not going to get over this. No one should get over this. The lingering effects, the lingering impacts of the Nolan Arenado trade are sprinkled across this entire bad stretch of baseball. Because the last time people really tuned in and were really cared about the Rockies was when Nolan Arenado and company were doing damage. And now they can't even get excited about the young guys because it's just a lot of losing. And then, as we face the offseason, as last season was all about cutting costs, trade some of the trades that they've made was about shedding payroll. What are the Rockies really going to do? A successful Rockies offseason for me is acknowledging and making moves and changing a lot about the internal structure of the Rockies. Darryl Scott needs to go. You need to add to your analytics department. You need to own up and you need to show some accountability for the fact that you failed at a generational trade and you have failed at developing in other areas. Now, to get powerful people, to get people, popular people to come out and say they failed and own up to their things, that's one story. But these are the type of things. Yes, it would be exciting if the Rockies can go and get some veteran, the Rockies are going to need to sign some starting pitchers. They're going to have to figure out a way to bring some people in here, unless they're going to go full in on that. The Rockies need to look at veteran bats and look for options here and make a decision about second base and what they're going to do. But for me, the success in the offseason starts with accountability. It starts with restructuring. It starts with actually making changes to your philosophies. It's actually embracing the fact that, because again, Warren Schaefer does things differently. And I keep bringing it up, embracing the fact that Warren Schaefer looks at the game differently, embracing the fact that baseball has left you so far behind in areas that you need to catch up. So I want to see the Rockies bring people into their analytics department and have them stay for longer than 8 months. I want the Rockies to actually look from outside of their organization for the managerial position and actually take into consideration, not just leaning on big famous names. No, I want you to look for creative answers. And I want the Rockies to build around their roster. They need to figure out what they're going to do with starting pitching. They need to start bringing veteran bats on this lineup that aren't going to be just the waiver wire pickups or the last-ditch efforts of free agencies of the Kyle Farmers and the Orlando Arcias. Now, those moves make sense given the context of where the Rockies are at. And next year, in reality, it's going to be pretty similar. It's going to be a young Rockies team. It's going to be guys trying to cut their teeth and continuing to develop. That's fine. So for me, a successful Rockies offseason is not just go get X big name player and bring him in. I want the Rockies to demonstrate that they've been learning and growing from what they've been going through. I want the Rockies to show us that something is going to be different about this team, that change is happening with this team, that being a consistent and perennial loser is unacceptable. That's what I want to see from the Colorado Rockies. That's what this offseason should be all about. But I have very little faith in things being all that different for the Colorado Rockies. I don't think adding another Monfort to a high level of power for now to have multiple people under the Monfort umbrella, the Monfort family, to have a lot of power and say at the top. I don't think you're going to get the necessary pushback there between a father and son. It's a dynamic that I just don't think is going to allow for the Rockies to have the difficult and tough conversations that they need to have about players, about personnel, about their organization, about their staff, about their philosophy. The Rockies, I just think, are too full of people that are content with the status quo because Dick Monfort has rewarded their loyalty. Because, again, as Rockies fans have shown throughout this season, they exist, they want to watch their team, and they want to watch their team succeed. I just really and they have to. It's the track record is so long of disappointment that I need to see an offseason in which there is news, there is energy, there is something about the Rockies. Because you want to know what's really difficult about running a Rockies podcast, especially when you do podcasts throughout the offseason? It's the fact the Rockies are asleep at the wheel, it seems like, are completely ignored, are forgotten about, are a laughing stock, aren't having conversations, aren't doing this. And then their biggest thing that they try to sell you on as the big reason why they're going to be better this year is they brought in Thairo Estrada. The Rockies organization has to make it worth your time. They have to take this offseason and to figure out, hey, we need to make the team more appealing because we're not going to get people to tune in. We're not going to get people to go after our streaming package. God knows what's going to be happening with that, with all the changes that we're seeing there with that and what that means for teams. But a successful Rockies offseason is one that's full of reflection and full of change from the organization on the inside. And we're not going to see that. I just don't there. I just, if there wasn't any incentive after back-to-back 100 loss seasons to not just run it back and do the same thing, bring back Bud Black, do everything that they did leading into the start of this season, what's going to stop them from doing it again? And this isn't the fault of Rockies fans that go and show up. That's not what I'm trying to say. I think I am one that says go to the Rockies whenever you want. Buy the Rockies gear. Wear Rockies gear. I would be hypocritical if I would sit here and say, don't do this stuff while sitting with a bunch of Rockies stuff behind me and a Rockies hat on top of my head and the Rockies package for TV that I watched. Yes, I have the job, but I would still be doing these things anyway. It's not your responsibility as the fan to get the job done. But it is our responsibility as the fan to support. It's the weird thing of sports where even bad teams have supporters, and that's a good thing. My example I say all the time. I watched Browns fans watch their team lose every Sunday in college, but they never got rid of their gear. They never said they're not watching the Browns. There is a loyalty in sports. And the Monforts are so far overdue to reward that loyalty of their fans by actually getting serious about competing. And I know you're sitting there just saying, look at you and your buzzwords. You're just saying getting serious about competing, clean house, all the change philosophy. What does that even mean? It means do something differently. Prove us wrong. Show us that you can make these. Again, there's a lot of possibilities on the Rockies roster. There's a lot of what ifs. Show us that you can get these guys to the next level. Show us that you can help Charlie Condon hit home runs like he's hitting at the minor league level, at the major league level. Show us that you can make Chase Dollander into the dominant force that he's supposed to be. Show me that you can help Feltner get here and stay healthy and earn that spot in the rotation. Show me that you can help Bradley Blaylock get confident and pitch court. Show me that you can develop a pitching staff of different types of pitchers with different approaches to the game that can be successful at Coors. Prove it to us. Prove it to the fans. I know that's very philosophical, but I don't know. Hold on. Cough button. I don't have an easy answer for that. And I don't have an actual, legit answer to the question of what a successful offseason looks like. I just hope that there's change, and I just hope that the Rockies do something differently. Because it's going to be really hard to just try to hype yourself up if the Rockies follow the same cycle this offseason going into next. All right, let's look ahead to Houston, put a bow on this episode, and wrap it up for this Tuesday. Before we do that, though, got to tell you about the folks that help make this show possible, and that includes 5 Hour Energy. Time to fuel up and turn it up with 5 Hour Energy Transfusion. This grape ginger and the lime-flavored shot brings the iconic taste of a golf course favorite to a non-alcoholic boost. Perfect for sinking birdies or making great memories with friends. It's a hole-in-one for your energy game. Whether you're out on the course and it is that hot day, right? I mean, we are still plenty hot, plenty of heat, and I know it's sunny on those golf courses in Colorado. You might need a little extra oomph there on the back nine. Well, guess what? 5 Hour Energy Transfusion delivers the clubhouse flavor you love without ever leaving the green. Golf is all about good times with good people and good flavors. The grape ginger lime flavor of 5 Hour Energy Transfusion gives you the best part of your clubhouse go-to without leaving the course or chasing down the bev cart. Now you can amp up the fun even more, and I know you golf fans are going to love this. Just buy, snap, and enter for a chance to win a dream golf trip for two to any golf tournament in the USA. Tee up that trip. Visit 5hewin.com for full rules and entry. No purchase necessary. Excludes the Masters tournament. Ends October 31st, 2025. Locked on Rockies here, back with you as we went a little long on our ranty segments. If you listen to the show, it's kind of the norm here. But heading into this series here, this opens up the path now for the Rockies playing teams that are in playoff positions in their next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of their next 6 series, 5 out of their next 7. Here. So basically for more than half of the remaining rest of the season, the Rockies are going to be playing against playoff caliber teams. And these are going to be teams that are going to be looking to do some serious damage against them here. The Rockies can really shake up the AL West if they're able to be successful against the Houston Astros, which they have not been of late. Of course, you got the Chicago Cubs. San Francisco is that non-playoff picture team there. San Francisco is currently 4th and 63-68 right now, and I don't think that's going to get it done. Currently 11 games behind San Diego and the Dodgers right now. I don't think that's going to be enough, so we might be able to count them out here, but so we'll see how the Rockies respond to that. I think that is an interesting wrinkle for that here, because the Rockies here will be able in an interesting spot and finally not finishing the season against the Dodgers here. But they do have that last road trip against the Dodgers coming up. But in the meantime, the Rockies are going to be taking on the Houston Astros, and they have scored 1 run in their last 3 games. So what awaits them? Pretty darn good pitching staff here when it comes to the Houston Astros. As a team ranked in Major League Baseball, they got a 3.91 ERA as a team that's 12th best in Major League Baseball. They're 4th best in quality starts at 57, 8th best in baseball with a whip of 1.23 and a batting average at .235. When that's a batting average against, I should say. The Astros coming into the series here, taking 3 of 4 from the Orioles and looking to really build out a lead here in the AL West standings. So the Rockies went up kind of, again, we're talking about a Pirates team that's very similar in terms of, top 10 in a lot of areas, even top 5, top 6, top 7 in some areas of pitching as a pitching staff. And they handled the Rockies. This is a road series. So this is going to be a case where we need to see adjustments from the Rockies offense. We need to see the young guys be able to navigate this. This is the reality that they face. Is the difference between bouncing between home and away. And a lot of these guys might not have a ton of experience with it yet, but this is the norm. As much just like we were kind of talking about, this is the reality of the Rockies. So you need to be able to figure out how to find the success on the road, as the Rockies have had a couple of big offensive nights on the road this year, and you'd love to do it in a place that's got some, a little bit has some hitter friendly things. But the Astros have always handled the Rockies, especially of late. And now the Rockies here are also, it's not just the pitching that they got to deal with here. It's kind of interesting here. The Astros offense is 20th in runs scored, 14th in on-base percentage with a .318 and slugging at 15th. So pretty run-of-the-mill and in terms of actually driving in runs in the 20th. But here's where they really are successful, and here's where this is going to be a problem for the Rockies here. 4th in batting average. And the Rockies, they're a 254 team batting average, and the Rockies are still allowing, as a pitching staff, nearly letting teams bat nearly 300. So when this team is that good at getting base hits, when this team is able to be that successful throughout their order, being able to drive the ball, put it in play, and it resulting in hits for them, this could spell trouble for the Rockies and the Rockies pitching staff here, as the Rockies will be turning to Tanner Gordon here in game 1 of the series. We'll see how it matchups. Hunter Brown on the other side, 2.36 ERA, 1.01 whip over 149 innings, 170 strikeouts in that time, 46 walks, 12 homers. Rockies going to have to be disciplined and ready for the challenge, because it is going to be one to start this series and throughout the series in Houston. That's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Rockies. Thank you so much for making us your first listen of the day. We're free and streaming on your favorite streaming services. And remember to check out the show notes here for information about the Locked On survey. For your second listen of the day, go check out Locked On MLB and Locked On MLB Game Night. And, of course, we got you covered with Locked On Broncos, Avalanche, Rockies, of course, Nuggets, and Buffs if you need more Colorado sports coverage. Until next time, I'm Paul Holden saying so long from the Locked On Rockies podcast.